Brianna, hey, welcome.
Hey, Brianna.
Thank you. I'm really enjoying this, and I feel like a big part of why I'm here is again like looking for that inspiration and motivation. So sometimes I feel like a hopeless creative living in Boston. Yes, a Black girl in Boston. And I'm just so curious to know like how you stay motivated, or even if I keep telling myself like one day I might make it to LA, one day I might end up in a space where there are a lot of people or a bigger pool of people trying to do the same kind of work. So how would you say to like stay motivated, and what can I be doing in the place that I'm in now, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like, look, the truth is it's hard no matter where you are, right? Like and obviously I don't know the film industry in Boston. I would imagine it's not going to be as prolific as LA or have as many avenues into things. But what I will say is, and again, not knowing you, and I don't mean this in any kind of negative way, I just mean like, well, what's the plan? Do you have a plan to move on? Do you have a plan to get to LA? Do you have a plan to figure out how you're going to do? Because I do think that like, unless you're doing that, they just become hopes. And they're not things that you can actually make actionable. And so that's great. Like you should hope and you should do those things. But unless you're saying like, okay, like Brianna, this is your plan for the next 3 years to get to where you got to get to. Because I agree. I mean, this business, I've seen writers get hired, fired, agents cut them, agents rehire them. Like this business is a marathon. It is a sift the wheat business. And if your heart ain't ready to be in that, it will cut you out for real, right? And so I think that like it is hard to stay motivated. It is hard, and I think that like you have to understand that like don't always get too high, don't always get too low on your success or your failures. But I really think unless you have a real plan to move or to, and I don't mean move to LA, a real plan to move into the arena you're trying to move into, then it is going to feel like it's nebulous here and there. And again, I don't know if you do or don't, but I would say like, unless you have a real plan, in a year, where am I trying to be? 6 months, what do I want to do? In 2 years, where do I want to be? And you're giving yourself real goals to get there, then the rest of it's going to kind of feel so nebulous. You're kind of swimming in it and it will just kind of like sift you out.
Yeah. And you'd be surprised, your Boston community might be, I don't want to tell you because you live there, but you know, I'm working with 2 people from Boston, 2 talents from Boston right now. And you might find gems there to help you on your journey.
And I think to that point, which I think is so great now, I think obviously like, you know, I think the beauty and the curse of, in some way, like the beauty and the curse of your own success, Issa, is like, oh, we're all supposed to have that journey, right? And like that doesn't mean that's everybody's journey, right? That was your journey. And again, people don't even know like how long you've been with this, like the show and the series itself. But I do think what's different now than when I was starting in 1936 is that you don't have like you can make something where you're at and get it out to people in a way that the whole world can see, in a way that didn't exist 15, 20 years ago. And so the idea that like, I can't, again, like Issa's saying, be creative or find creatives and make our stuff, again, pop together and, you know, a rising tide raises all boats, as opposed to like, I got to move out of this. It's like, how do we galvanize in this and move up in a way? I just think that like you can do that now in a way that didn't exist 20 years ago for Black creatives. I mean, the word creative didn't even exist, 20 years ago.
Did you say 1936?
I did. You didn't catch it. I was wondering. I would just go 1862 and then we just go kids.
Yeah, that's why I didn't catch it. It was too recent.
It was too real. It was.